The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness. For he is truly his brother's keeper and finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee. Ladies and gentlemen, the Church of Lazlo has begun.
Hey,
Hey,
how are you?
I've never been better. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you.
It is Friday, yeah. Oh yeah, today we gotta call a number. You can stop that. Do you remember last time you weren't just driving me crazy? You were driving everybody.
I know,
crazy.
but I was just waiting for how long would it take for it to bother.
Not long at all. Your chance to see White Reaper in Austin, if you were qualified this week. I am going to turn off Lazlo's. If you were qualified this week,
I put it away. I'm sorry.
your number should be in this list. Well, if you were qualified, your number is in this list, and we are going to randomly grab one of the numbers,
Sure,
and pick the last 4 digits. So, you ready to start here?
Yeah. Trip for 2 at 2.
I'm just going to grab I'll grab from the middle. How's that?
Do it. Just grab it.
All right.
You don't have to hand it to me. Just read it.
Okay. 6847.
6847.
6847. If that sounds like the last 4 digits of your phone number and you were qualified for this week's Trip for 2 at 2, call us now, 5767-965. You got 10 minutes. So my clock says it's just before 2:15, so we'll give you till about 2:25.
Text line checking in.
Right?
Ooh, let's drink some whiskey and kratom. You ever mix kratom with whiskey?
No, I have
That sounds
not.
hard to drink.
I don't think it would be advised. I'm guessing Snowcone's in it. Snowcone, you drink rum at least, right?
I drink Captain, yeah.
Yeah. Is that not rum?
No, it is.
Oh, okay.
It's spiced. He likes it spiced.
It's spiced rum.
Okay,
yeah.
I really
likes it
don't. That's how
spicy.
little I know about liquor. Like Captain's if you ask someone for rum and Coke, they wouldn't automatically put
No, they give
Captain
you a
in it because
clear
it's
rum.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever drink your drink of choice, which is Captain and Coke,
Yeah.
and then also have kratom?
Together?
Yeah, like around the same time. You ever mix the two? You ever have 2 of them in your belly at the same time?
Only kratom first.
Okay.
So I might drink some kratom and then like maybe an hour later have a Captain and Coke.
Okay.
Do you ever mix the kratom in the drink?
Oh, hell no.
No. All right. Hell yes. Bring the tapping back. People want the tapping.
No tapping. No tapping.
Let's drink and talk about our wieners.
The last 4 digits of that phone number that we're looking for right now are 6847. Oh, so I got my credit card. Why did I even start with that? Why did I even say that?
What?
My credit card, I got one of those alerts that said, hey, did you pay for porn online, you know?
And you're like, yes.
And then I was like, no. And then they were like, oh, well, we've turned your credit card off. And I'm like, damn, like, you turned it off. So then I had to call because they won't just do it unless you call them.
Right.
So I had to call, and they said, all right, we got to send you a new one. We'll expedite it. It'll take this long to get the credit card. So one of the things that happened, of course, as I'm waiting for my new credit card to come in, I turn on the TV, and my Hulu was turned off. And so I went without Hulu for like 3 days, because if I put in my debit card or something, I'll forget about it, and then it's going to stay on there, and I don't want to use that card. So I just had to go without it. So I couldn't see Nick, couldn't see anything. I was watching Netflix. It's really tough for a few days. But last night, I got my card, put it back in, and when I pulled it up, it was scary movie time, because it's October.
It was horror night.
They call it Huluween. You know, we're not paid by them, but we do talk about them a lot.
I saw that. Huluween?
Yeah, so
I saw that last night.
many scary movies. Wait, do we have someone on the phone?
Yeah, we got a winner.
Already?
think so?
Yeah.
Hey, who's this?
This is Dustin.
Dustin?
Yeah.
All right, Dustin, did you listen at 2 o'clock? Did you just start listening at 2 o'clock because we promised to give you a trip if you listen at 2, or had you always listened at 2?
No, I've always listened ever since you guys started at 2. I've always dreaded you coming on at 3 o'clock, so 2 o'clock was a blessing in disguise.
Oh, nice. Okay, well, I guess according to Snowcone, he looked it over and he says that you are the winner. You're going to see White Reaper in Austin. You got someone that you can take with you?
I'm married, so yeah.
I guess you got to take her, huh?
I'm married, yeah.
All right, hold
Awesome.
on, and congratulations, all right?
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, hold on the line. Awesome. Well,
That was the
easy.
first person.
Yeah, that was easy.
Maybe this 2 o'clock thing's going to start to take off.
So shabby, huh?
Not bad.
Anyway, I was looking for a scary movie to watch, and then I realized a lot of this is garbage. Like I said, not paid by Hulu.
Right.
Because all the stuff that was on, I was like, I don't want to watch any of this crap. Then I started thinking, like, what scary movies do I like? What do I want to watch in October? What are those movies? Like, I have Christmas movies that I like, and even a couple Thanksgiving movies that I like.
What's your favorite Thanksgiving movie?
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, yeah. I always think of that as a Christmas movie.
Nope, Thanksgiving. Trying to get home in time for Thanksgiving. So, I saw
Is that
this.
the only Thanksgiving movie ever?
No, doesn't your guys, Peanuts, they have a Thanksgiving one, don't they?
Oh, they have one for everything. But
Yeah.
that is,
Yeah, what's another good Thanksgiving movie, Snowcone?
I'm not sure.
Thanksgiving.
Oh, Dutch. I like Dutch. That's your buddy who was in that.
Planes, Trains, Automobiles?
Yeah, that's the one I said. That's my favorite.
Okay.
Someone said this list says son-in-law counts. I don't think so, but Dutch. That's a good Thanksgiving movie.
Son-in-law, Dutch, a family Thanksgiving.
Don't know that. That looks like something
Home
on
for the
Hallmark.
holidays.
And why is Jack and Jill on the list? I
Free
guess I've never
Birds.
seen it.
Mall Cop?
Oh, Grumpy Old Men. That's a Thanksgiving movie. Gonna be alone for Thanksgiving. I'll count that. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, though. But for scary movie, I don't have one. I don't have like a go-to. And then I just saw this thing that was talking about the most successful scary movies of all time, like the highest grossing horror movies of all time.
The Exorcist.
It's on the list. You want to hear it? Number 10 was Scary Movie. That shouldn't count, right? That's a comedy.
Yeah.
That's a good movie, though. That's
Yeah, but that's not a scary movie.
It's scary.
Scary movie?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a
it's
comedy. It's silly.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
spooky parts, I guess.
Is
but
there?
it's-
There's jump
I
scares,
think
at
there's
least.
jump scares.
Yeah.
Alien, they count. Number 9 made $286 million in 1979. That's like $1 trillion in today's money, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could buy a car back then for like $500. Used, obviously. The Amityville Horror, 1979. Horror, $310 million. That's a lot of money. That movie could not have cost much to make.
What's your guys' go-to?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if I have one. Jaws 2 is number 7. I don't count Jaws, but Jaws 2 is
People
number
always
7.
count those as scary movies.
It.
I feel like that's more of like an action movie.
Yeah. Kind of same with Alien. I feel like that's more
Sci-fi. I
yes,
agree.
I agree too. They put it on the list at number 7
It's
or
good.
number 6. I thought it had broken the record. I thought it was the highest grossing scary movie of all time. But I think now that it's the highest grossing R-rated horror movie. It broke some sort of record. The one from 2017, obviously not the made-for-TV one. Gremlins, 1984. Again, that's not scary at all. It's a comedy.
Yeah.
The Sixth Sense is a scary movie. 1999, $518 million. It made $500 million. That's a big one. And then number 3, in no way is this a scary movie. Ghostbusters. Like, that is absolutely, I'd give that
Definitely
less
comedy.
leeway than scary movie. Ghostbusters isn't, well, yeah, wait, you know what? The opening scene with the librarian. The opening scene with the librarian when she's going through the card catalog or whatever and she's putting the books away and that old woman ghost appears and I wet myself when I was a kid. That's scary. That's sort of scary. So it might have a couple scare scenes in it, I guess.
Ghostbusters?
Yeah. Well, you guys said scary movie, which is like not another teen movie.
Yeah.
It's a total spoof. But Ghostbusters, I guess, had a couple scary. But it's number 3 on the list. Your movie that you thought would be number 1, which I guess the same thing, The Exorcist, is number 2. $996.5 million in 1973.
Yeah.
You could have bought.
That movie's scary,
You
man.
could have bought Russia for that kind of money back then. The Exorcist holds up.
Yeah.
It holds up.
Yeah, if you watch again, I mean, like, it's still scary.
The crab walk.
Yeah.
When you see it the first time, at least for me, the crab walk the first time really it scarred my brain.
And up until that point, I had seen scary. I watched that movie, and I guess, it had been out, but, my parents, I didn't have horror night, and my parents were more like, don't watch these movies because you're going to stay up all night and it'll scare you. Like, you're not allowed to watch scary movies. And any scary movie I'd seen up until that point had probably been more like, Michael Myers or Jason or something, right?
Oh, yeah.
And those movies to this day don't scare me. They have jump scares, but they don't scare me because I think to myself, if Jason shows up in this house, then we just have to fight. We don't have, and then he'll either kill me or he won't. And he appears to be very strong, but I know the lay of the land. So we're going to have to figure this out, right? Mm-hmm. I've got home field advantage. He's much more athletic than I am. So let's fight. And even when I was little, I thought that way. But then when it was The Exorcist and they were like, no, seriously, the devil gets inside your body, I was like, oh, well, you can't fight Satan because you have home field advantage. He possesses your soul and then makes you do the crab walk and spin your head around, and that, to me, was the ultimate scary, like, frightening, like, all right, there's nothing you can do. And I had never thought about that before. And then I really stayed up late at night. Like, my God, there is a Satan, and he can enter my body whenever he wants. Which is a completely different feeling for a man than a woman.
Yes. Imagine finding out that your mother's in hell doing what that priest's mother was doing.
That's what I'm talking about.
My goodness, he could have gone his whole life without knowing that. Why did you have to bring that up?
What was she doing?
Sounds like she's having a bad time. She was in hell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's bad.
The devil was adamant about that. Like, I know for a fact. I've seen it. It's almost like I participated. Like, damn, man. Bring my mom into this.
Poltergeist was scary up until the whole flood and the coffins and the Indian burial ground.
Tragically stupid.
Right.
For such a great movie, and I do love that movie. I really love that scene where they're all whispering.
Yes, of course. It's great.
And she's talking about some people just want a little more life. When I was a kid, I really liked that movie a lot, and it kind of spooked me out. But that ending, even as a child, I thought, okay, well, it's like they forgot how to end this thing.
My go-to is The Shining. And it's not inherently scary, like with the jump scares, but it's just like his descent into madness. Like personally, like seeing that is terrifying to me.
It's funny that you say the thing about the devil not being able to fight the devil, because my older brother, the lawyer, he always said the exact opposite. Like if it's a guy with a knife or something, that could really happen. He's like, those scare me because this is some dude breaking into my house with a knife and he slits my throat while I'm in bed. He's like, that happens. He's like, now. A Ouija board coming to life or whatever, give me a break. But you got some guy in a knife or some guy in a gun, and I'm freaked out.
I'm just the opposite. And maybe it's because I don't believe in it, but if you're adamant that you don't believe in any of that stuff, and then you see it, you're like, oh, no.
Yeah.
What if it does exist? It freaks me out.
I remember being a kid, and that's when Scream came out, and that was horrifying as a kid. Yeah. Also, the best opening of any movie ever.
That's great.
Really well done.
You said, what was the first movie you said?
The Shining.
That didn't scare me so much. I understand why it did,
except
but I also felt like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, the scary stuff, like the dog and the twins, that's not that scary. It's more about just his complete descent into madness.
I get it, but there's also a part of me that's like, oh, you think your dad's bad?
Yeah.
Come spend a week at my house.
Jack Nicholson's just amazing.
It's not. I just wanted to tell those kids that it's no parade over here where I live. I'm not saying it's as bad, but you know what? The grass is always greener, kids.
I'm excited for the sequel, the Dr. Sweet.
I didn't even tell you guys what number 1 was. Jaws, which again, I don't really count. I think of that as like an action movie.
Yeah, me too.
I don't even think that I would call it an action thriller. It's just an action movie. But it made $1.154 billion. This has obviously been adjusted already for inflation because
it does scare you though. That movie will stick with you. Jaws. It'll stick with you. Like me and my dad years ago rented jet skis and went out on the ocean on them. Mm-hmm. And we're out on the ocean jumping waves on them, and he fell off. Like he went sideways and he fell off. And so his spun out and I was, maybe, 50 yards away from him. And he's kind of swimming in the middle of the ocean. And all of a sudden he starts swimming faster and faster and faster. And I'm like, what's wrong, man? So he gets up on the thing. I'm like, what's wrong? Did you see something? And he's like, no. He's like, I just saw how far away that thing was, and I just started hearing dun-dun, dun-dun.
Yeah.
He's like, I was like, you know what, man, just start swimming.
Yes.
So then, and I started laughing. I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. We're out there, like an hour later, I flip mine, right?
Yeah.
And
sure enough,
I just start swimming fast, and he's on his laughing. He's like, you hear it, don't you? Mm-hmm. You hear it. So it is scary in that sense. It stays with you.
Okay, so those were all adjusted for inflation. Once I saw 1.154 billion, I was like, that's clearly already been adjusted.
There's no way.
So if you do the ones that have not been adjusted for inflation, then It from 2017 is the highest grossing.
Okay.
327.5 million. Then Sixth Sense, then Jaws, Ghostbusters, Exorcist, It Chapter 2 already from this year, Get Out, Halloween, Scary Movie, and What Lies Beneath. Isn't that the Harrison Ford movie with Michelle Pfeiffer? That movie sucked.
Yeah.
You know what I thought was a really good scary movie? It's actually a recent one. I know we've actually talked about it not that long ago, but It Follows.
It Follows is great.
I thought that was really well done. And I also liked the one, it's not Don't Breathe.
Quiet Place?
Okay, those are the two I confuse. Which one is the one with the monsters that can hear you, can only hear, but they're blind?
That's A Quiet Place.
The guy from The Office did.
Yeah.
That's A Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place.
Okay, is Don't Breathe the one where they try and rob the blind dude in Detroit?
Oh, yeah.
That was really well done, and I liked that movie a lot. And
that was good.
I already liked the movie. I already thought it was a good movie. I was already having fun. And then it gets into that last act or last 25% of the movie, and it completely throws you for a loop.
Watch that again.
I also thought Green Room was really good, and I think that should count because that is a scenario.
How did, by the way, when you go back and talk about these older ones, how did Children of the Corn not make it?
I don't know.
That movie was scary when I was little.
Yeah, but wasn't that like a B movie, pretty cheesy, like when it came out?
No, I think when it first came out, it was like a real scary movie. Then they made like 20 of them after that. But that first one, Malachi.
Let's check the old Wikipedia and see what it says about that movie. It came out in 1984. Obviously, it's Stephen King, but let's see. Usually it says someone was received. Oh, budget. It cost him $800,000 to make that. And it made $14.6 million.
Wow.
So these other ones that we're looking at were a lot higher. They're up in the hundreds of millions. That one didn't even make 20. But it made money. It only cost $800K to make.
I remember it being scary.
I want to watch Green Room again. Green Room's good because
it's believable.
It's not supernatural. It's nothing.
Have you seen that movie, Lazlo?
Hardcore
Green
right-wingers.
Yes.
If you haven't seen it...
You told me to see it.
If you haven't seen it, the whole plot is that these kids are in a punk band and their gig gets canceled, and they're being interviewed by some podcaster in Seattle or something. He's like, man, that punk club, it canceled on you, and sorry, I can get you another gig tonight that'll pay, but it's kind of a, what do they call it, Boots and Laces club, which means a little bit neo-Nazi-ish sometimes, a little right-wingy, but you'll be okay, and they'll pay you. All right, we'll do it. They go in there, they get on stage, and at the end, they do Dead Kennedys. Obviously,
the first song they opened with was.
Did they open with it? I thought they ended with it.
They opened with Nazi Punks F Off.
So maybe that's all they did. I don't remember, but they do that song. Then they go back to the green room to wait to get paid, and it just gets so bizarre from there. But I felt like that movie was somewhat believable.
Right.
Yes, if it was happening in real life,
you'd say this is a movie. Because it's up in the Northwest.
Yeah,
people are a little crazy.
And I don't know what right-wing Nazi guys do in their sheds out in the woods. I'm sure a lot of bad stuff happens there.
Same stuff you and Spencer do in your shed?
Yeah. Without Patrick Stewart. Sometimes with.
When he's in town.
Answer the door, Spencer. It's just me. I just want to pay you. There won't be any problems. Have you started watching that Murder on the Bayou show yet, you son of a bitch? I think it's...
Man, I needed something to watch so soon. And then I realized baseball playoffs are on, and it's football.
Then that game last night ended up being good?
Yeah.
The hell?
And I'm switching back between that and baseball play was great. So I don't need anything for a while. I'm good.
Oh, but admit that the swinging back around to how we opened yesterday's show, you got to admit the Seahawks jerseys last night, that's garbage. When they have the lime green shoes with the lime green pants.
The lime green pants started to be a little much.
Green.
It looked pretty cool when I first saw it.
My brother actually texted me and said, those uniforms should be illegal. And I was like, yeah, those look bad. And we just got done talking about how we liked their uniforms. But that doesn't look good. Russell Wilson, he's pretty good, though, huh?
Yeah, he can play football.
He's
baseball,
pretty
right?
good.
Isn't he very good at baseball, too?
Yeah.
Right now, he's damn good at football. He's no Mahomes. But
who is? Huh?
But who is? Well, I heard Nick Wright this morning. He said, other than possibly Mahomes. I love that we've got a constant. Like Mahomes could start putting up, I feel like, bad numbers. You know what I mean? Or at least average numbers. And how many years would it take before Nick Wright on his nationally broadcast television show would start saying,
never do it.
He would never.
It wouldn't happen.
He would never say that this person isn't as good as Mahomes. He'd be saying Mahomes has had an off week, an off month, an off season, a couple of off seasons. He's probably got an injury we don't know about. He's still the best.
Yeah.
And we would still have that champion, that cheerleader out there for us saying, Mahomes is the best.
Right. That's how LeBron fans feel.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They got it.
And that's why, and no matter what, Brady could win 700 more Super Bowls, and Nick would be like, it's getting old. Not really, right? I mean, that's why Patriots fans hate him. I think Nick is the best broadcaster in sports. I believe that. And he is true to his convictions, no matter what.
He'll be right eventually on Brady.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
The thing. Eventually, he'll be right.
Yep.
Someone said the old guy in Poltergeist was terrifying. I think you're thinking of Poltergeist 2, but there is there an old guy in part 1? In part 2, the old guy is walking down the street and he talks to her on the porch. And that guy was like literally dying of cancer when they filmed that movie. That's the rumor about that. And that girl, she died after making the third movie from some sort of genetic
I went to her
disease.
grave randomly. It's in Beverly Hills.
They talk about like the curse of that movie. Someone else had an interview with the vampire. I'm old enough to remember that coming out. I was a kid. As a matter of fact, I'm the same age as Kirsten Dunst, just like half a year younger than her or something. And however old she was in that movie, that's how old I was, obviously, when it came out. So I was little. I remember thinking it was really boring, but people loved it. I tried watching that a couple years ago. Maybe it just hasn't stood the test of time, or maybe it's just not for me. Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt. Yeah.
I always thought that was like a vampire woman's sexy movie.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
my sister
right? It's like an
really
early version of Once Bitten, or not Once Bitten.
No,
what's the damn vampire
An early
movie?
version of 50 Shades of Grey, right?
But what's the
Isn't
other
it?
one?
Like, that's what it is?
What's the one with actual vampires in Seattle with Kristen Stewart?
Oh, Twilight.
Twilight, like Twilight.
Right.
Like a slightly less cheesy version of that, or even True Blood. Someone said Constantine, question mark. As a matter of fact, Texter, that's the movie that I almost landed on last night, because I did like that movie with Keanu Reeves.
Oh, yeah.
It's cheesy, but
I don't know that I ever saw it.
It's also got Shia LaBeouf in it. So. But I like the movie. Someone said Tusk. I know Lazlo's a Kevin Smith fan. I watched Tusk. And
I haven't seen that. Is that
gotta
good?
say, I wish I'd had my time back.
I thought it was good.
I didn't like it. But some people really liked it. It seemed to be polarizing. Someone said I was waiting for Slim Fast to say It Follows. Yeah, and then Don't Breathe. Don't Breathe, that's a good one if you haven't seen that. Burnt Offerings I've never heard of. Now I wonder if people are just sending me like menu items from barbecue restaurants. I'm going to start looking up these movies and that you'll find. Naked Lunch. That's not really scary though. I guess it's scary if you're tripping.
Slim Fast has seen every scary movie. He's a child of Horror Night.
Horror Night. Yeah, my dad, one of his favorites was... oh god damn it! They remade it with Colin Quinn.
Colin Quinn.
Who's the Irish guy? Is that Colin Quinn?
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell.
Oh,
Colin Quinn's a stand-up.
Yeah, Colin Farrell.
yeah, but is he Irish too?
Colin Farrell. No, Colin
From
Quinn.
Boston?
I think so.
Colin Quinn. I thought he was in New York, but he could be from Boston.
I feel like he's like a Boston guy, is he?
Colin Quinn. I thought he
I
was
feel like
from New
Colin
York.
Quinn and Dennis Leary went to
It could be.
elementary school together. I
Looking
could
it
have
up,
read
boss.
that completely wrong.
Colin Quinn's stand-up specials, his last like 3 or 4, I think they're hilarious. But that's not what we were talking about. The scary
Born and
movie is
raised in
Fright
Brooklyn.
Night. Fright Night is what I was thinking.
Born and
of.
raised in Brooklyn.
Fright Night.
Oh, Fright Night. Yeah.
My dad was like, now this is a good one, son. This is one of the best. And then there's a scene, because that's the one about where the guy hosts a late night. No. He stars in a late night, cheesy, campy television series about a vampire hunter, whatever this old guy does. Then this kid thinks he has a vampire living next door to him, which happens to be Chris Sarandon, Susan Sarandon's ex-husband, right? And he goes to the vampire killer from the television show from Public Access and says, I have a vampire, I need your help. But it's a real vampire. And I'll tell you, there's a scene where the kid is in the original, he's looking across through his window, looking across the yard at his neighbor's house to see if he can see the vampire doing vampire stuff. And instead, he sees a woman standing there, and she begins to disrobe. She has huge sweater. She has huge boobs.
Yeah.
And
Sound like a 13-year-old.
I know. He's again.
I got myself.
He's all of a sudden he's back at Horror Night with his dad.
Yeah.
Because that was the scene where my dad was like, all right, get me something to drink. Grab me a beer. And then he would
Grab me a beer.
He would fast forward through the part where, I remember watching from the kitchen and you see the little lines going through the VHS.
Yeah.
And then her boobs come out. Boom. Yeah. Anyway,
have you guys watched,
I like the remake.
Have you watched Hush? That's streaming right now. That's pretty good.
Which one's that?
It's where it's the deaf girl and she's in her home and the intruder shows up and is stuck in her home.
Yes, and that is based on...
It's pretty good.
That is based on an old movie / play, which my oldest brother starred in at like the, I don't know, Hickman Mills Playhouse or whatever the hell it was. My brother, he did that. It's about a girl. She's blind, right? Or is this one deaf? Yeah, so in the original one, the girl was blind. And the guy's like, coming into the house and sneaking around. Yeah. But yeah, bet you didn't know he could act, did you?
What was the name of it?
What is the name of that? Someone will text it. It was famous. I don't know.
I'll check.
A long time ago.
Well, we already got a winner. There's people texting in. You missed it. You got to listen right at 2. We already got a winner for this week's trip at 2.
Carrie? Do you like Carrie? It's okay. I feel like Stephen King...
Yeah.
Stephen King's books...
I think Cujo's stupid. I'm not scared of that dog.
Stephen King's books, I think, have all made bad movies with the exception of The Shining and then obviously The Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption. Like, Stand By Me. Any of his
You're not scared of the dog in Cujo, are you?
No.
That's stupid.
And
all of a sudden
I remember reading it and...
Things Coming Alive and whatever that movie is.
Things Coming... Metal Steel...
yeah, with Emilio Estevez.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
What's the name of that? What is that called where the Coke machine kills you?
Stupid.
What is that? Right, but that was meant to be satirical, I feel like. That's the thing with some of his stuff. It's weird that some of my favorite movies are based on his books, but they're not. Like Stand By Me is a great movie. Shawshank Redemption, great movie. Green Mile, great movie. Mm-hmm. But the only scary one of his that really worked was The Shining, and now I guess people like it. I thought it was just okay. Did you guys like it?
The first
new one?
No.
The new one.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I think those movies are... I didn't read it, though. I don't read Stephen King. I could care less. I know you guys like him. It's just not my thing. So. Not interested.
You're not a Stephen King person, are you?
Yeah. My mom has every single book he's ever written. She's obsessed with him.
I could care less. But I think that clown in the sewer is scary.
Yeah.
Until then they start getting into the story. Whenever they get into the story, then I'm like, oh, who cares?
I remember watching the original like when I was a kid, which it was already out for a long time, but we watched it, and it terrified me.
The made-for-TV miniseries?
Yeah, with Tim, what's his name?
And I heard they're making another
Maximum
version
Overdrive.
of The Stand. Maximum Overdrive, thank you, yeah. Often considered the worst movie ever made.
Is that true?
By some. Yeah, I see it on lists a lot. It's always on the list of worst Stephen King movies. It's always at the top of that. I think he said
I thought Shawshank Redemption was stupid. So.
I was waiting for that. Did you see Castle Rock Season 2? Andy Dufresne is in it.
Oh, really?
Not Andy Dufresne.
Man, I don't know if I can watch it.
Tim Robbins is in
that first one. I don't know if it deserves a second chance.
Tim Robbins is in it, and get this, the girl that you see in the trailer for it, that's Annie from Misery. It's a younger Annie.
Oh, okay.
Younger Kathy Bates.
That first season,
they said the first 3 seasons all have to come together somehow. Like the first 3 are related. It's not like American Horror Story.
The way it ended was so bad.
Yeah, I didn't like that last episode. But I liked the show so much that I was like, well...
Did you see The Joker, by the way?
No, it just came out today, right?
I don't know. I thought it was playing some places last night. You could get early tickets.
But I wasn't going to... After that discussion that we had. Seriously, I was like, I'm not doing that. But what are people saying?
People just ask if we want to see it. I do want to see it. I think it looks really
awesome.
good. Yeah. And people are saying it's horrible, but I feel like they're going to say it's horrible no matter what.
It looks so good. I love Joaquin Phoenix.
Where's it at? Oh, it went down to a 70%.
But Swim, you might actually like. It's not really a superhero movie.
No. That's what I'm saying. This looks like I want to see it.
I know you and Brooke are adamant against any superhero movie.
I'm just usually not interested, but I want to see this.
Yeah,
for sure. I think it looks good. I think it looks interesting.
I think you look good. I think you look interesting.
I'm not interesting, but thanks for saying I look good. I feel good, and I do feel like I look pretty good. But that's because my mom bought me this shirt in Branson, and I'd never buy myself anything this fancy, but I'm feeling confident today. I look like I exercise with a shirt like this. Doesn't this say I know how to use a locker in the gym?
Yeah.
Right?
Doesn't like maybe you run
maybe I check my health app, or maybe I even have a watch that checks my heart rate.
Yeah. You run.
Yeah, like I run or something.
You run, on a treadmill.
Like it makes it look like I could bench like 125 pounds or something. 150.
Makes it look like you run.
Yeah. But I could bench, in this thing, 100 pounds. What do you bench, Snowcone?
I have no idea.
Come on, what's the most you ever benched?
I haven't benched anything in...
Well, in high school you had the bench. How much did you bench? Oh, you dropped out. What?
That's just a ridiculous question. It's fine. I'm sure he's very strong.
I want to know what he benches.
I really don't know.
What do you think he benches, Lazlo?
I think I benched once in my life, and I don't remember how much it was.
He could bench 225, right? What's the little?
You always think he's stronger than I think he is. I think he's not as strong as you think he is.
I feel like he could. Could he throw?
I mean, he's in good shape,
right
and I'm not saying that he's in good shape, and he's devastatingly handsome. It's all good, but I'm not so sure that he has like that innate strength. I'm not sure.
I don't know either, but
he could get strong, but I don't know. You say you don't work out, so I'm not so sure like you have like
that it's ready to go.
Natural strength.
No, yeah.
Right. I think he could get there.
I think 225 you could do right now.
I think he struggles with 200.
Right now? But I think give him a month and it's no problem.
Oh, yeah, I think if he worked out, he'd be able to do it.
Maybe even a couple weeks. I think 225. I almost put up 100 once. Almost. I'm not kidding. I got the 90. Got that to go. Yeah. Took some work, but I got that to go. And they put 100 down. I was like, I don't know. You guys say you're spotting me, but can you guys hold this? You sure? If I drop this? So, I never risked it. Well, we got our winner for a trip for 2 at 2. We'll announce a new one on Monday.
Headlines coming up?
I forgot that we were on the air this whole time. Yeah, we'll do headlines coming up in a few minutes, right?
Yeah.
What do you guys want to do between now and then?
Between now and headlines?
Yeah.
Go have a smoke. I'm going to make myself a drink.
Okay.
You?
Yeah, cool.
What, do you want to have sex or something?
No, I was just going to see if you... Yeah, no. I'll tell you off the air.
You want to do that? You want to... This?
Just take a quick break. No. We're good. I just want to show you guys something.
You want to do what that priest's mother does in hell? To me?
No. You know, that was shocking, by the way.
Oh, yes.
I mean, were your parents watching it when you were watching it?
No, I wasn't supposed to watch it. That's why they're don't watch it.
Right.
I saw that it was on one night and watched it by myself.
And it was uncensored? It was on HBO or something? Yeah, because when they say that, I didn't know people were allowed... I didn't even know people thought like that in the 70s. To me, the 70s seemed like such a long time ago. The idea that someone in a movie would say your mother... does that they would say it? I couldn't believe that was in a movie from the 70s when I was a kid. Couldn't believe it. I thought you couldn't put this in a movie now. There's no way.
That was probably true.
About the priest? Well, now, everything we've learned over the years, perception's a little different. I don't even know. We shouldn't defame him. Was it the priest or was it the priest boyfriend, the other guy? There were 2 guys there, wasn't there?
I think it was the priest's mother.
It was the priest's mother?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was the one.
She did.
She was the one. Man, that sucks, bro. But maybe that's why he got into ministry.
Yeah, because his mom, but he didn't know. I mean, he didn't know that that's what she was doing in hell.
But he didn't want to.
But that's what she was doing in hell.
Right, but he didn't want to get in line. You know what I mean?
He didn't want to hear it either.
No, he didn't want to see it. No, that's true. They still do exorcisms in real life. That's a real thing that some people still actually believe in, and people get hurt. I mean, right now, somewhere, someone is performing an exorcism. Probably multiple exorcisms worldwide. And I'd be willing to bet that somewhere in the United States right now, someone is performing some sort of an exorcism.
Yeah.
2019. But you know why? Because we all saw the movie, and no one wants their mom to be the one who ends up doing that. No one. Do you know what her mom was doing, Snowcone?
Mm-mm.
You don't?
Mm-mm.
Will you go downstairs? I think there's somebody here.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you off the air. All right, well,
tell him I can't. Tell him I'm alive now.
Oh, so now we can't go down there because you're hiding from someone? You're dodging someone?
Just come on, I'm not dodging anybody. Just go down. I think there's somebody waiting for me.
And bring him up?
No, just tell him that I can't make it.
We're on the air.
All right, forget it. I'll go down there. You stay here.
No, he's got it. He's got it. He's got it.
This is the Church of Lazlo. On 95
Flashing with paparazzi involved in an incident.
These infected monkeys. This is Headlines on the Church of Lazlo.
What the hell did I just hear?
What? The intro?
What were you listening to?
Oh, I was just making sure that I had all my headlines ready to go. That's
what the hell was that?
You'll hear it. It's in headlines. It's just
the strangest thing I ever heard.
Strangest thing is just a newsman saying something.
That wasn't a newsman, was it?
Yeah, it was.
All right, well, hit me with that news and information, Sugar Wiener, because that sounded like some sort of weird robot or something.
Oh, I'm curious what you thought you heard now. No, just a news guy. We'll get to it. But first, we got to start with impeachment, because now there's something to do with text messages and some guy named Bill Taylor. And I don't know.
Bill Taylor?
Yeah, Bill Taylor.
Bill Taylor.
I've never heard of the guy.
Bill Taylor seems like a nice guy who lives in my neighborhood every once in a while. He's an Iowa fan. And, come over and have a couple beers and watch some football.
Yeah.
At least we talk about it, but he never actually comes over. But, I'm like, hey, Bill, what's up?
Did he ever mention to you that he was a U.S. diplomat?
No, that's what I'm saying. That doesn't seem...
Yeah, because it could be the same guy, but I guess he's a diplomat, and there's these text messages that they disclosed to Congress where you see text messages from Bill Taylor, the diplomat in Ukraine, to a group of other American diplomats talking about how crazy it is to withhold security assistance for help with the political campaign. There's text messages.
Top U.S. diplomat to Ukraine at the time, Bill Taylor, repeatedly raised concerns about the administration's Ukraine strategy. In a text last month, he wrote, "I think it's crazy to withhold security assistance for help with a political campaign."
But does any of this really matter now? Because now Trump has gone on TV and said, you know what? I think China should investigate the Biden.
Right.
So I don't know if it's strategic, or accidental.
It's smart.
Should just say, I'll do it right out in the open, and then people will think this must not be illegal because I'm doing it out in the open.
That's exactly what he's doing. It's incredibly smart.
It
really is incredibly smart.
If he's doing it intentionally. But sometimes
he's doing it intentionally. He knows. Like somebody has told him, don't do that. But he's like, no, I will do it. And if I put it wide out in the open and let everybody see it, and then I'll just go back to the same thing. What he said about the Mueller papers and everything. Collusion's not illegal anyway, so shut it.
Right.
That's what he's going to do now.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what my phone call said because it doesn't matter because it's not illegal.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
The Apprentice is the most watched show on television.
Right.
Period. Yeah. Just say it. Just keep saying it.
Yep.
And people go, I don't know, collusion, asking another country for help with a campaign. No, he asked on TV. I mean, he was right there. He's not hiding. He's got nothing to hide. He's got nothing to hide. He's saying it right there in the open. A Pennsylvania...
And whether you hate him or not, look, I don't like him, but it's a bold strategy. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. And
he's got a lot of bold strategies.
And it appears to work.
A Pennsylvania groom-to-be is accused of sexually assaulting someone just days before the wedding. Someone who I think was a member of the wedding party.
What happened?
Pennsylvania State Police say a groom sexually assaulted a wedding guest 2 days before he was set to exchange vows. Harnvey of Stroudsburg is charged with involuntary sexual intercourse with an unconscious person and indecent assault. Investigators say a 29-year-old Oregon woman told police she was in town for the wedding when she was assaulted in a Smithfield Hotel's men's locker room.
What?
Wait, she passed out on a men's... Not that it's anything, but women are going to get back. It doesn't matter where she passed out. No, of course. She can pass out wherever she wants, and she should feel like she's not going to have anything horrible happen to her. Of course. That said, why was she passed out in a men's locker room?
I wish I knew, because basically what that woman from CBS News just said is about all I know. It says in the stories that prosecutors claim that this guy is charged with involuntary deviant sexual intercourse of
involuntary?
Involuntary, because she didn't volunteer. So involuntary deviant sexual intercourse with an unconscious person. It says it wasn't it wasn't known Friday if the 28-year-old, which is today, had retained an attorney or not. They just said that the victim is 29 and that he's 28 and that she was allegedly sexually assaulted in this Smithfield Hotel on August 30th. And the woman told the police that she was in town for the wedding.
And it was in a men's locker room?
In a locker room. In a locker room of
the hotel.
Of the hotel. Like where? In the gym? Like, but what's a locker room in a hotel?
It's all very confusing to me, but I guess.
I mean, I guess if there's a gym, there's a locker room, or I was just trying to think.
I've never seen one, but.
When they said locker room, I got confused, and I was like, I thought they said this was at a hotel.
Right.
I thought, I guess it could be a locker room at the hotel. I don't know. So, but imagine that. Imagine if you're the bride-to-be, and then.
Well, better to find out now.
Better to find out now, but also devastating that it would have been better if you found it just a few days at least before everyone flew in for the wedding.
Right.
You know, that's bad news. Really bad news. But better to find out now than, I guess, 6 months into it or something.
The other thing they didn't say, she was in town for the wedding. She's a friend of the groom's or the bride?
I want to know if she was in the wedding. Was she friends with the groom or the bride? It just said that she was in town for the wedding.
Right.
I feel like they keep a lot of that stuff quiet in the beginning. Anytime there's allegations of sexual assault for the victim's identity and stuff like that, to try and keep them safe. A radio host has been charged with...
What format?
Well, see, I was going to make you, after you found out what he was charged with, then I was going to make you guess what format.
Okay, that's fair.
So a radio host has been charged with sexual battery on a child.
Top 40.
Guess that format. You would think top 40, right? And I have to admit, when I saw the headline, my first guess was top 40, but it's even a little bit more obvious than that.
A reverend and well-known radio host is in jail, accused of sexual assault on a minor. Reverend Brian Fullwider is a founder and co-host on the radio show Friends Talking Faith, which broadcasts weekly on WMFE and used to be a pastor with the First Congregational Church of Winter Park.
I looked up that station. I think it's public radio. So the Orlando Sentinel reports that the 59-year-old was arrested Wednesday. A warrant says he faces 30 counts of sexual battery of a person younger than 18 by a person in position of custodial authority. Winter Park Police statement says the person told investigators Tuesday the abuse happened repeatedly from 2005 to 2010 when he was the senior minister at this First Congregational Church of Winter Park.
Okay.
So his attorneys have vehemently denied the allegations and say that their client has committed no crime. And the name of his show, I'm sure you heard there, was Friends Talking Faith, which I guess I read in another article.
The name of our show, Friends Talking.
Yeah, you got to be careful here, too. You don't want to jump to conclusions about top 40, Christian. We're not all innocent. But I guess this Friends Talking Faith thing, one of the stories I read said that, because he's a Christian pastor, I think like there was him and a rabbi.
Oh, I see.
See, like, you know, we're different religions, but we can sit here and we can talk faith together, and then when you go out for a smoke break, I'm going to...
Stop.
Okay.
Stop.
I'll stop. A woman in Michigan is warning parents and children, please stop participating in these stupid challenges on YouTube. She heard her son screaming and crying the other day. She comes out front, and her son is riding on the back of his friend's bike, and her son is not wearing a shirt. And he's burned.
No.
He's burned all over because he participated in the fire challenge, which is where
fire challenge.
Pour nail polish remover all over yourself and then light it on fire.
What? That's not a challenge.
It's a challenge.
That is not a challenge.
I've seen it on Reddit so many times. I keep thinking people would learn when you watch the challenge. It never goes well.
Where's it on Reddit?
Just type in fire challenge and watch people doing it.
No.
They end up rolling around. Their friends always come over and try and help them put out the flames. Someone's always screaming, ah, ah, ah! And I think, that shows that doesn't work. So don't. Well, what's your end game? Who did this successfully?
I just want everybody to know that these challenges or whatever they're watching on YouTube is not worth your risking your life. I mean, my son got burned second degree, and it could have been way worse.
God, I mean, before we went on the air today, we were talking about something that your
and what do you do with it?
Something that your son had been talking to you about. My first thought was, oh no, he's been looking up stuff on his phone or something. Right. And then you hear stories like this and you go, oh, this too. It's not just the sex stuff and looking up porn on the phone and all that.
By the way, just to clarify, it wasn't. My son asked a question that was, I guess, surprising. Maybe sexual in nature, surprising, but it was something that they had mentioned on American Dad.
And he had no idea what it meant.
No idea what it meant. He thought it was a disease.
Right. It was like, I remember watching Roseanne, and they said DJ was upstairs in the bathroom practicing his instrument. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew that it was funny for some reason. And I remember the next day, even my friend said, man, did you see that last night when DJ kept disappearing? And I asked my friend, like, all right, so what's practicing his instrument? And my friend goes, I don't know.
Right, yeah.
We knew it was funny.
It was kind of the same thing. Where he knew it was something that, but he didn't have any concept of what it was.
Yeah, but then you got to worry about the YouTube videos.
I'd rather have him ask questions about that.
Yeah, or
then pour lighter fluid on himself and light it on fire.
Yes, or any of these dumb challenges.
Because also I failed at some point, and I know that'll come back to haunt me. But I hope that I've given my kids better life instructions than, hey, if a kid on YouTube pours lighter fluid on himself, you should try it too.
But isn't it kind of a modern-day version of our anarchist cookbook? Remember when we got that in 6th or 7th grade and it taught you how to make a tennis ball bomb and all that stuff?
And we made tennis ball bombs.
Yeah.
And I stuck scissors in a light socket.
Right? I mean, we had to find someone who...
lighter fluid on myself.
Right, but now they've got YouTube videos, and sometimes they see people doing it successfully, I guess, pulling something off, And so they think I should try this. And by the way, it's not just little kids. How many times have you seen adults, college-age kids, adults in their 20s, shooting each other with bulletproof vests on or drinking shots that are on fire and lighting their whole faces on fire?
Yeah,
Just don't do it. And I would think also if there's a camera videotaping whatever you're doing, there's something cosmically saying this is going to go horribly wrong. Like, really, the only way this goes right is if you aren't filming it. So just don't do it because it's not worth it.
No, you're right. I mean, if someone's got a camera in your face, there's risk versus reward right there. There has to be some sort of risk or else they wouldn't be filming it.
Right. And you got to know that the reason they're filming it is because this probably isn't going to work.
We'll light your own face on fire.
Yeah. And other people are going to laugh at you. But you're not going to be laughing. I saw this kid. He's laid up in the hospital just completely, his entire torso wrapped up in bandages and stuff. And in no way am I picking on this kid or his mother. In the local news story from, I think it was a Detroit affiliate. She's from not Greenfield. Did they say in that audio? I'd say it's somewhere close to Detroit. She's standing out front. Is there like Greenfield Village?
Greenfield Village. That's like a Christmas time place.
Well, then I don't know. Anyway, she's standing out in front of her house talking to the news crews, and she's, just basically at the very beginning of the front yard, and her back door is about 25, 30 feet behind her. The son is sitting in like a plastic lawn chair out in front of the stoop, right in front of the front entrance to the house. And I don't know, I guess maybe the news said, like, we want to get a shot of him too because he's got bandages on. But all you can see is he's got the bandage on his head. And then I guess because he's injured, she put him in a Chewbacca jumpsuit. Like a nighty pajamas or maybe a Halloween costume. And it kind of reminded me of the Scarlet Fever thing when I had to wear socks on my hands. Like if they brought the news over to my house and said, first child since 1892 diagnosed with Scarlet Fever. My mom said,
with Pringles cans on your hands?
I've just got socks on my hands, rainbow-colored socks on my hands. He was wearing a Chewbacca outfit. But I get it. He probably can't wear like tight-fitting clothes or anything, and everything hurts. So this clip... This is the clip that you heard earlier that for some reason confused you.
Okay, this sounded like a robot or something?
But he mentions technology in it in a robot, yes. A guy who is paralyzed, I don't know if you've watched the video, who's paralyzed from like the shoulders down, has been able to walk using an exoskeleton.
Technology has created a miracle for a man who had been paralyzed from the shoulders down. He can now walk using a robotic skeleton.
Wait, hold on a second.
Controlled by his brain.
That guy does sound like a type-to-speak newsman, doesn't it?
Does he? I don't know. He was. It could be bad audio too, but I watched him. I watched him give the report. Okay. So unless they were dubbing over his voice, but this guy is paralyzed, like you heard him say, from the shoulders down, couldn't move at all, and they put him in this big. It kind of looks like a Halo suit, right? And he is able to command this suit and control it with signals from his brain. And so he is able to walk. And so what they did to make sure that he wouldn't fall down, they did harness it to the ceiling, like how the bumper cars get their electricity from the ceiling. Okay. But it's not like that thing is doing all the work. The exoskeleton is walking. He's able to move. He's able to take steps and move this thing by controlling it. Here's a clip of him. You can see he takes these slow steps, but those steps that he's taking it's all being controlled by his brain. So he's just thinking about moving his left leg, moving his right leg. We're not far, right?
No, I mean, you look at it and you're like, that's ridiculous. I'd never get, even if I was paralyzed, I wouldn't want to get into that. But you would, because like what that guy's doing right now is helping figure it out for somebody 30 years from now.
Maybe
where they're just going to be able to jump in a suit and be like, boom.
Yeah.
I don't even need any of this stuff.
Hopefully
it'll look like a Chewbacca suit and it'll be fine.
They've already got the prosthetic arms where people control their fingers and hands. They grip stuff with their brain, which is very Star Wars-esque. And we've all watched videos of people trying to pick up cups, and and the new ones are able to, because in the beginning there was only like one strength and it would break stuff, so you couldn't pick up like a light bulb without breaking it. Now they can pick stuff up and there's sensors in the hand. The next step is, well, obviously they still have to perfect those, but the next step is to get paralyzed people walking again.
Yeah,
I guess it's going to be easier. It would look like it's going to be easier to create Halo suits than to repair spinal cord injuries, which is kind of surprising to me. I would have thought that stem cells or something would have found a way to repair spinal cord injuries faster than Halo suits.
You'd think they'd already have that now that you mention it.
Yeah, they still can't. If you get paralyzed, they say, I'm sorry, but here's your chair. I would like to think if you were young and you're paralyzed, I don't even mean like a kid, just young-ish, that there's a good chance now you're feeling like, okay, even if they can't repair my spinal cord, I may be using some sort of exoskeleton or something. I'm going to be able to walk again in my lifetime.
Right.
And if it's a kid, then you really think, yeah, they're gonna walk again. They'll figure this out. Remember the video of the cops with they're on horses and they had the black guy handcuffed and they were dragging him down the street. He was walking behind the horses and everyone said, boy, that is really not a good look. Two cops on a horse, white cops walking a black guy down the street. This is really, really bad. And someone had taken pictures from a distance. Well, now they have released, the Texas police have released body cam footage of these cops as they're arresting this guy. And it turns out the cops knew that it wasn't a good look either. As a matter of fact, it's one of the first things one of the cops says as he's arresting him.
One of the officers was heard twice voicing discomfort at what they were doing.
It's going to look really bad. You're doing good, Mr. Neely. But we got to do what we got to do, too,
It's going to look really bad. Hey, no, it's not going to look really bad.
It is.
It's going to look really bad. Don't do it.
Right, and it is really bad.
It's really bad. You can't. Someone in this department has a vehicle other than a horse. Call someone with a car and come pick this guy up. You're not dragging him down the street. I mean, they didn't drag him, but they walked him down the street as he's being led by white cops on horses. You knew. Right. Now we know you knew that this was a bad look. It never should have happened in the first place. I don't even remember. I don't know if it said what it did. I thought originally it was something for a drug arrest, but I mean,
I was just curious.
Yeah, even if, I guess maybe if there were, the only two cops were around were on horseback, and this guy had been shooting at a crowd or something, and like, we got to do something. Okay, but there was no reports of that with this guy. I remember at some point it was a charge of something. Oh, trespassing. There it is. Criminal trespassing. Yeah, he was trespassing. Yeah, I don't think he needed to be led down the street by white cops on horses. Why do the cops have horses?
Crowd control?
Right. Well, they use them. I know
they can get to places where cars can't.
Yeah, so
also if there's a bunch of people, I think they can be, they're intimidating.
Yeah, because they use them,
am I wrong or no?
KCPD, I think that's what it's for. They seem to use them when they're trying to keep crowds controlled. And then I've heard the stories of, well, the horse can go places other vehicles couldn't, which I think in Kansas City, I've seen the cops riding down Warnell on four-wheelers. They're standing up and they ride side by side. I feel like that four-wheeler could go a lot of places. And also, that horse is a big crapping animal just standing there. It just seems weird that you have horses. I don't know if they still do it on Saturdays or Fridays on the plaza in Kansas City. They bring the big horse trailer down and it says KCPD, and then they lead horses out.
I like the horses.
I'm fine with the drug-sniffing dogs and stuff. I understand we don't have technology. I don't really like the horses.
I like the horses better than the four-wheelers.
I don't really like
There's something kind of classic and okay about it. And although they're big and intimidating and I know they're fast, it's also an animal and it's, as opposed to some guy in a big four-wheeler that says police on it and going 80 miles an hour down the street. The horse there's something more comforting about it.
Yeah, I guess I could do without either, I suppose. But certainly don't use your horse to
drag people
down the street or walk people down the street, whatever. A 911 dispatcher is in trouble. Now, when you see this headline, if you don't read the whole story, it sounds like someone called 911 and asked for help and said, help me, there's police around, and I'm going to get a felony. I've got stuff on me. And that the 911 dispatcher said, get rid of it. But if you read the whole story, the 911 dispatcher, this is Flora, by the way. I don't know if I need to mention that. But the 911 dispatcher knew this person, and the 911 dispatcher called this person. It was an outgoing call from the dispatcher's desk. So it's someone that this dispatcher knew, and she had received a text from this person saying, look, there's cops surrounding me. Well, I think originally just said, I need you to call me ASAP or I'm getting a felony. The exact quote here is, this is the text, you need to call me ASAP now or I'm getting a felony. Call me ASAP now. Oh my effing God. Something along those lines.
Okay.
So she calls him and then he says something about, there's a bunch of cop cars around me. I'm stuck in here. But it wasn't because of him. They weren't there for him. It was something unrelated, but there were cops everywhere, and he was worried.
We learned that it was marijuana that man threw into the bushes near Mohawk Avenue and Apache Street in Fort Myers on August 18th. That's where Fort Myers Police Department was already on scene for a separate call. While on duty, Kinsler made a call from the recorded LCSO line. 2 coworkers overheard Kinsler's end of the call, telling a man to, quote, get rid of it, apparently without knowing it was weed.
Apparently, she knew what it was. The coworkers didn't know what it was. Why are the coworkers telling on her?
So now what happened?
They reported her for that? I don't understand. And what if I had called 911 and I was freaking out and I said, there's all these cops here. I don't know what's going on. They're here for something else, but I'm trapped here. I've got weed on me. I don't know if I get in trouble for weed. 911 dispatcher isn't a police officer, right? Can't a 911 dispatcher like, I'd chuck it. If I were you, I'd chuck it out the window right now. I'd throw it in the bushes. I would get rid of that. And couldn't the 911 dispatcher also say, I was trying to help a friend with a drug problem? I said, get rid of it. You don't need drugs. Just get rid of it, right? If I was their lawyer, I'd be like, yeah, she's always telling people, get rid of it. She hates drugs.
That's a very good point.
She always just tells people, ditch it, get rid of it. You don't need those. Life is better without them. You'll see. But I like to think that a 911 dispatcher...
We're there to help.
Right, they're there to help.
They're there to help.
And if I'm freaking out and I'm like, please, I don't know what to call. I'm surrounded by police and I've got a little bit of...
But then they went and found it?
Yeah, I guess they found the weed in the bushes. Son of a bitch. Fort Myers, Florida. Did you know this whole Amber Geiger case that we've been talking about, obviously she was found guilty of murder and then sentenced and all that. And the story yesterday was that the brother hugged her and that was a very emotional scene. I did not know this. There were cameras in that courtroom, obviously, and local affiliates had said, hey, after the brother hugged her, the judge goes over and talks to the victim's family. Now, she's kind of whispering and kind of out of earshot, so we can't hear exactly what she's saying, but clearly she's trying to console the family, the judges. Then the judge says something to Amber Geiger and then leaves the courtroom. They think went back to her chambers, comes back in holding a book, gives that book to Amber Geiger. At first, they weren't positive what the book was, but they now know it was a Bible. And if you listen to this audio, it's been cleaned up a little bit. If you can't make out what she's saying, I'll tell you. But if you listen carefully, you can hear what the judge is saying to Amber Geiger. It's something along the lines of, here, this is yours. Keep it. I have 3 or 4 more copies like this. This is your job for the next month. I want you to read, I think she says John 3:16 or whatever
they put a football out of a football field?
Yeah, whatever maybe on Forever 21 bags or WWE. Who was the wrestler? Stone Cold? Didn't he have that? Yeah. Anyway, that's what she's saying. Listen, you can kind of hear her. You can have mine. I have 3 or 4 more at home.
This is the one I usually pay for. This is your job for the next month. You get right here. John 3:16.
This is your job for the next month. Right here, John 3:16. This is your job for the next month.
What does that mean?
You know who? I don't know what John 3:16 is. I didn't look it up. I think we've looked it up plenty of times.
Like, why does
and then we
show,
always forget.
It used to show up at
we
sporting
always
events.
forget.
It doesn't so much anymore, right?
We always forget what it is. But let's see. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believeth on him should not perish but have eternal life. So there you go. She's saying, don't worry. You may be in prison for a decade, but you're going to live forever. So don't think of it as 10 years of your limited life. Well, a national...
Why is that always or used to
I don't know.
More? It's not anymore, right? I don't see it so much anymore.
Is it just like saying...
Well, it's a lot less. I mean, I know it's still very religious. People are going to get mad, but it's a lot less religious than it used to be, right?
Than 20 years ago? Yeah, and especially 30 or 40 years ago. But
it seems like those signs were up at every game. John 3:16 everywhere.
I don't like that the judge handed her a Bible and then said, this is your work for the next month and read this. And apparently I'm not the only one, because the National Atheist Group has now filed a formal complaint with the state of Texas because she gave the Bible to Amber Geiger. Says the gesture by Texas District Judge Tammy Kemp, who also suggested the Bible could change Geiger's life, came at the end of an emotional sentencing hearing this week. Kemp left the bench to approach and hug the tearful Geiger, handing her what she said was one of her personal Bibles she used every day. The Freedom from Religion Foundation, which includes presidential son, Ron Reagan Jr., on its honorary board, filed its complaint Thursday with the Texas State Commission on Judicial Conduct, saying Kemp's proselytizing actions overstepped judicial authority. Whew, I got through proselytizing the first time. I don't like her handing her the Bible in the courtroom.
Yeah.
I don't want her to have any relationship with her really outside of, all right, your sentencing is it, that's it. I'm fine when the judges do their little thing at the end where they say, look, I don't have anything against you personally. I think you made bad decisions in life. I hope you get your act together. I'm fine with that. Don't love it. Let me say that. As far as I'm concerned, give me the sentencing and then you're done.
Yeah, your job's over.
But if you want to say something, good luck to you, young man, good luck to you, young woman, that's fine. But don't go get a Bible and then say this is your job for the next month. And Amber Geiger is handcuffed in this courtroom. She can't leave that courtroom. That's where she has to be right now. And now you have a judge coming to you and handing you a Bible and, as they said, proselytizing to you and saying, here, take this, read it. Here's the chapter. No.
I don't love that.
No. I don't know how angry I should be. But I'm like a little bit angry.
I'm angry.
Yeah.
I'm not overly angry because it was after the sentencing and everything, right?
Yeah. If it had been before or during or whatever.
Unheard of. I mean, not unheard of, but it would have been
I think it would have been a mistrial probably, yeah.
Right.
But
I still don't love her doing it, but I guess the trial was over. I don't know. If she would have went to her after, if the judge would have went and visited her in jail and gave her the Bible, would you be okay with that?
No, not really. Leave her alone. I don't know, like your job is done. And a lot of times these same judges...
I still think what Shannon Sharp said about it, which was smart, was, 10 years, everybody thinks, that's a lot of time. What if he would have went into her apartment and it was the wrong apartment?
Right.
And he would have shot her. How much time would he have got? And
plenty of people think it's not enough time.
And I know, but there's the debate back and forth. And if he would have shot her in her apartment, would we have expected her mother to get up and hug him?
Mm-mm. If he said, I came home, I walked into the wrong apartment, it looked just like mine, and it was dark, and I was texting someone.
Right, and I
then
shot a white female cop.
Yeah, no. You're in a lot of trouble there, man. You're in a lot of trouble.
There's you were in the wrong apartment? That's weird.
Yeah, the doormat. Well, I guess if you were texting, maybe you wouldn't see the doormat.
Right.
You didn't notice that the couch was different, or the TV was different, or that it smelled like Indian food, and you never cook Indian food? Okay. Well, I can see that.
That guy is
I feel bad
executed.
For you. Certainly getting... You would not be surprised at all if he got a life sentence.
It was Texas, right? He's getting executed. Shooting a cop in their house?
Yeah. He'd probably get executed.
I'm being honest.
Yes. A Florida man executed someone. Unfortunately, it was his son-in-law, and he didn't mean to do it. So this is another one of these stories of someone surprising a family member, like that girl who came home from college, last month before, to surprise her mom?
Would love to execute me.
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't even have to surprise him.
No.
He might surprise you. So a Florida man shoots his son-in-law. Now, I guess his son-in-law lives in Norway or something, had flown home from Norway to surprise, I believe, the father-in-law for his birthday. It's someone's birthday. Surprise, I'm home. Got into the airport late, like at 11 o'clock, and then comes home and surprises dad or dad-in-law. Dad shoots him one shot, he's dead. But the cops are saying...
I don't believe that at all.
The cops are saying there's even more to this story.
At 11:30, Mr. Dennis hears the same type of banging on the back door that he heard on the front door earlier.
Okay, sorry, I had to pause that. The same type of banging on the back door that he heard on the front door earlier. So if you read the story, because the cops are now saying in this press conference, he's going to tell you that it's an accident and they're not charging files, or not filing charges. But... he says that this guy heard like banging and knocking at his door late at night, and it freaked him out, and he went downstairs and nobody was there. Then, fast forward a couple of hours, he hears a similar noise at the back door, and that is his son-in-law trying to surprise him. The son-in-law jumps out of the bushes, they make it sound like literally hides, and then, hey! And now, because he'd heard the noises earlier and had been startled, now he has a gun, and when the guy jumps out, he shoots him.
He turns on the back porch light, he steps out, and Mr. Bergen jumps out of the shadows, scaring Mr. Dennis. Mr. Dennis gets off one round, striking Mr. Bergen, killing him instantly.
What I would like to know is, do they have evidence?
What?
Do they have evidence that the noise that he claims to have heard an hour earlier, 45 minutes earlier, actually happened? Does he have a Ring doorbell? Is there something that they can... Seriously, is there some way they can prove that he came and checked the front door?
This world doesn't... Like, I yelled yesterday, so I don't want to. But the guy wasn't in the house.
Right. But
he was outside.
Right.
There has to be some sort of law of personal responsibility. Conservatives always talk about personal responsibility. Why don't people take personal responsibility? How about some personal responsibility where you just don't shoot before you look?
Well, the conservatives are going to tell you that the son-in-law took the ultimate personal responsibility because you shouldn't be jumping out scaring old people.
You can't just walk out
late
the
at
back
night.
door and get tap two. Bap, bap. I mean, you should have some idea as to what's happening before you do it.
The guy in Texas the other day who just went outside and he claims was, firing off shots into the night, trying to scare him, and then goes back to bed. He shot that guy and went back to bed and woke up and said, I thought it was some trash laying out in the yard.
Right.
Yeah, you shot that guy on purpose. If we're going to have guns and you're going to say you're allowed to protect your property or whatever with your gun, if this guy really heard a noise and he came down to the front door with a gun, or maybe not without a gun. Let's say he comes down to the front door because he hears a noise and there's nobody there. He's like, what the hell was that? He goes back upstairs. Then he hears what they claim is a similar disturbance at the back door. So now he's like, all right, it's late. It's the middle of the night, literally. He opens the back door. He goes out there. There's nobody out there. And then this guy jumps out. Surprise! That's my Norwegian. He jumps out. And you go, ah, boom, and shoot him. I think that still's got to be some sort of... You didn't take the time to recognize that's your son-in-law. So right. you recognize him. If you'd taken an opportunity to look at him, you would have known it was your son-in-law. I think there should be some amount of time before you pull the trigger where you at least look at the person and say, do I know this person?
To assess the situation you're in.
Is this person trying to hurt me? Other than just, I'm scared. Ah!
Right.
And that's it.
That's not okay. You at least have to have time to assess the situation. You just can't be shooting people in a split second where you can't even recognize a family member.
And why is the sheriff saying that?
And if you're that scared with a gun in your hand, don't go outside. If you're that scared that someone can go, surprise, and you don't even take a chance, a second to see who it is, that you just, bam, don't go outside. Call the police. You had plenty of time to call the police. There was rattling at the doors. There was rattling at the front door. There was rattling at the back door. Someone's trying to get into your house.
So
call the police. You have a phone. Call 911. That's what they're for.
The sheriff says, okay,
it's not like he came into your bedroom and was like, surprise!
I'm rubbing your feet.
Right. That'd be different. You had to go outside to find him. And you already told me that you heard someone trying to bust in earlier. Now they're trying to bust in again. Call 911.
Yeah.
Did he call 911 before he went out there and just clipped a dude?
No.
No.
So
you shot your son-in-law because father-in-laws hate son-in-laws. That's what happened. You dirty son of a bitch.
I know you don't like guns at all, but back to since guns are legal.
You think
and
your ex-father-in-law, he'd have clipped you one if he could.
He brought guns into my house.
Right.
Unannounced, saying you never know. And I'm like, you never do. I need you to leave. But there was a story last summer that we talked about where the older woman, she was around, I say older, I mean, she was around the same age, early 60s or something, where there was like a drug addict or something. He was banging on the door. He started at the front door, came back to the back door, and she warned him, like, stop. If you try and come through that door, she had a rifle. She's like, I will shoot you. And he started to break the door open, and when he got the door open, she shot him. Okay.
That's fair.
That to me seems reasonable.
Yes.
She's alone, whatever. This guy is on meth, or who knows, out of his mind, and he has come into the house. He's been warned. I want to know why, because the sheriff said this was a totally accidental, is his quote. It's totally accidental. I want to know why he says that it was preceded by this banging on the door at 9:30, which startled this guy. And then there's banging on the back door at 11:30 when his son-in-law shows up. Like, if I were the guy who shot him and I'm trying to add a little bit of, substance to my excuse here, saying that someone, I'd been hearing banging already, and there were these guys, they were banging at the door, and I had to chase them off. If I was a cop, I would say, I don't think so. That doesn't sound likely.
Well, I'd say, did you call the police?
What are the odds? Right.
I think it actually hurts your story.
He says he chased them off. Right. Now, whether or not he actually saw them or not, like, when you say someone was banging on the door and you chase them off, Are you saying that they must have run when they heard the door open, or did you actually see these people and you got to look at them and then you chase them off? I don't believe any of this unless, because I'm afraid that I'll say I don't believe anyone knocked on the door at 9:30, and then the whatever county, Florida, is going to release, Rosa County, is going to release a Ring security footage of him coming outside at 9:30 going, get on out of here, after someone had been banging on his door. Maybe that happened.
I think the knocking on the door, the people trying to break in earlier, whatever he said, rustling, whatever it was more than just knocking, right? Because it startled him and it scared him.
They said that he was banging on the door.
Right.
Banging on the door.
Which is more than just knocking, like, hello, anybody home, right?
Yeah.
You're implying that. Then if that already happened to you once and then you came down and you were startled and then it happens again, why aren't you calling 911 first before you're sneaking outside in your slippers shooting people? If he would have called, I'd have more interest in this story, I guess, in his side of the story, if the police, and maybe they will, say he called 911 and then went outside. He didn't do that.
He was waiting
Call
for police, or he let them know.
You're inside. Nobody's in your house. It's not like you went downstairs to do laundry and a guy jumped out, boner first. Surprise! And you're like, damn, son.
I agree.
Completely different. This guy's outside. He's outside.
I also couldn't help but wonder if, because this guy's Norwegian, because his son-in-law is Norwegian, I don't know what the gun laws are like over there. I don't know if everyone's strapped or not. But I would not go to anyone's house, friend, relative, whatever. I mean, obviously, if I know them well, some of my friends don't own guns or whatever. But if I was going to somebody's house, I wouldn't bang on the back door at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, then hide in the bushes and wait for a guy, a 60-some-year-old guy to come out and I go, surprise! I wouldn't do that for several reasons. One, heart attack. Two, you're scaring the crap out of him. And three, I might get shot. That doesn't mean that he should have been shot, but I wonder...
Right, that part of it doesn't make any sense either.
Did he really jump out of the bushes?
The guy just came over and knocked on the door and asked to get in. And I guarantee you we're going to find out that this father-in-law hated that guy. Hated him.
This is the quote. At 11:30,
hated him.
Mr. Dennis hears the same type of banging on the back door that he heard on the front door earlier. Again, I would like to see some sort of evidence that there was banging on the front door earlier. Quote, so he turns on the back porch light, he steps out, and Mr. Bergen, which is obviously the son-in-law, jumps out of the shadows, scaring Mr. Dennis out of the shadows. Man, he was standing there, right?
Yes.
Wasn't he just standing there? And he's like, I can't get the front door to open. And then he's like, where
was he from again?
Norwegian.
What did you say?
Oh, I can't get the front door to open. It's me, your son-in-law.
Jorgen?
What was his name? It is Bergen. It's me, Bergen, at the door. I've been banging since 9:30 on front door, but you come for me. We can still do those, right? Because they're white?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. And then, did I have something else? The son-in-law got shot. I felt like there was something else I want to talk to you about. There's a cheerleader who jumped off of a float and saved a baby, but that's not good. Ooh, eating babies is way better. Did you hear about
Someone ate a baby?
AOC.
She ate a baby?
She held some sort of, I don't know, what do they call those little rallies where they get together and take questions and talk about what they're going to do? Whatever. She's in one of those town hall type meetings. Thank you. And I think they were talking about climate change and all that stuff.
A Mary Kay party?
A woman stands up. Who
Tupperware.
No, I think it was a global warming party.
Global warming party?
Well, to discuss global warming. But you had it. It was a town hall, I think.
Town hall.
Yeah, you had it. But a woman who also sounds suspiciously Norwegian, by the way. Whoa. It's the Matrix. Saving babies. I skipped that story. Go to eating babies. And then this woman also sounds Norwegian. Anyway, she stands up and says, listen, AOC, love the Moxie, love the Green Deal, but I don't think it's going to be enough. We've got that one professor who's saying maybe we should become cannibals and eat dead people or whatever to try and, help save the earth. But I don't think it's enough. I think we got to start eating babies.
We only have a few months left. I love that you support the Green Deal, but it's not getting rid of fossil fuel. It's not going to solve the problem fast enough. A Swedish professor saying, we can eat dead people, but that's not fast enough.
Okay, she doesn't sound Swedish. I guess she said Swedish professor, and I don't know what she sounds like.
So I think your next campaign slogan has to be this: we got to start eating babies. We don't have enough time. There's too much CO2. All of you, you're
who sent this person out? Stern?
Too much
Huh?
Stern sent this person out?
Well, she's just someone who wants to help. She's freaking out.
That's not a real person.
Let her hang herself a little bit more.
CO2. We have to start now, please. You are so great. I'm so happy that you really support a nuclear deal, but it's not enough. Even if we would bomb Russia, we still have too many people, too much pollution. So we have to get rid of the babies.
All right. AOC says that it was a Trump plant.
I
think it's a Howard Stern or Jimmy Kimmel or something plant.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't jump straight to Trump, but AOC says that she was a Trump supporter. Trying to cause a scene, but that sounds like something.
It could be a Trump supporter, but they seem to be a little bit more aggressive than that.
And they're busy with impeachment and stuff. They got other stuff. I don't know, but I guess they got time to say, let's go screw up.
But do they really do let's eat babies? That doesn't seem to be their thing. That seems to be more a Howard Stern, Jimmy Kimmel type of thing. Right?
Unless she is responding to that professor, because there was that professor who said we should be cannibals.
I know.
So maybe, because I don't watch a lot of Fox News or read a lot of Breitbart, maybe that was like a big thing that they talked about for 2 months. Oh, well, now the libtards want you to eat, your dead relatives. And maybe that's all they talked about for the last however many weeks. And so this woman says, I'll take it a step further and say you got to eat babies. But I don't know. I could see that, though. I could see them talking about the cannibalism thing a lot.
You can't eat babies.
No, I know that.
Okay, I just want to make sure you know.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to eat a baby.
Right. Definitely not here. No way.
Not anywhere.
Not anywhere, but I've heard rumors in other countries
that you can eat a baby?
Let's not talk about it. I'll tell you off the air what I heard.
Where?
I actually heard it on a morning radio show years ago, but
tell me.
No, it's. I think it's offensive. It offends me now. It offends my senses.
I want to hear where you say people can eat babies.
They don't eat babies, okay? So that's why I shouldn't have even mentioned it. And none of it was true anyway. It was some sort of urban legend from 20 years ago.
So what are you
They did in another country that they would eat. That's what they would do. Yeah, I think it offends me to say it. It's gross. It's because it's early in the afternoon. I don't know. We're talking about that.
What country?
I'm not going to say again. I don't want to be.
I'm going to Google it.
Do any
countries?
I heard someone discussing it on a morning show a long time ago, and I think they had a guest on the air or something, and they were telling the story about being in another country, and that some nurse or something said, "Oh, hon, you need to eat. Look at you. You're hungry," and then went over and grabbed a jar. It's I'm sure an urban legend, or just maybe they were joking around. It was a long time ago when I heard it. It offends me now. Maybe we should talk about
one of the downsides of the burgeoning internet in the early 2000s was that it fostered the delirious spread of misinformation as revealed fact in the blink of an eye. That was the case in 2001 when widely circulated photos which showed a large Asian man eating what appeared to be a cooked baby served at a restaurant were taken by many at face value.
Oh, this was different.
The pictures were later teamed with breathless news that roast fetus was now the hottest dining craze in Taiwan, with outraged emails offering the offensive picture as proof. But that's not true. They don't. It does look like a baby, though.
Okay, so there you go. That would have been
not true.
Right around the time that I would have heard it on that morning show. So there you go. Probably 2001.
The man in the photographs was not a restaurant patron enjoying.
Here, I'm going to Snopes it. I found a Snopes article about it. Where did it go?
Stage a conceptual shock. Oh, yeah. It was a Taiwanese, Chinese performance artist, Zhu Yu.
All right.
He staged a conceptual shock piece called Eating People at a Shanghai Arts Festival in 2000.
Here you go. Snopes. It says no. They call it miscaptioned.
Yeah, I just read that whole thing.
Yeah. So
he was eating a baby, but it was for art.
Yeah.
It wasn't a real baby, I guess.
Right.
It was just a picture of a guy eating a baby, though.
Yeah. So that's probably where I heard it, right? I would have heard it around 2001. I said it was probably close to 20 years ago.
Well, they say whether you actually obtained and ate a fetus for his performance or employed a prop such as a doll's head placed atop a duck's carcass is still a subject of debate.
Okay.
So he actually may have.
So
but it's not. Fetus is not Taiwan's hottest dish.
No. Nope.
Remember that.
So if you remember that, hearing that same interview that I do from almost 20 years ago on the radio.
I've never heard it before.
That was probably not true. We now have, the internet's a lot stronger now. It's got a lot more information.
We have proof. Well, we don't know that he didn't eat a fetus, but we know that it's not delicious for everyone.
Can we rinse this fetus taste out of our mouth with something now? Because
sure.
I was going to just, you know what? I keep leaning on this cheerleader saving a baby like, I've got the story about a cheerleader, but I just don't care. This is what, did you see the cops in Georgia who pulled the guys over and takes their weed and then says, all right, here's your weed back. And they're like, huh? And he's like, I can't do anything about it. This is an example of, I told you a month or two ago that Ohio had accidentally kind of legalized weed because the cops there said, look, you legalized hemp and we're not allowed now to take someone's marijuana from them because there's no way for us to test it there on site to see if it actually contains THC without smoking it. So the law for now, if we don't want to get sued, is going to have to be, if you see people with marijuana on them, you got to let them keep it, especially if they say it's hemp. Unless they just admit to you that this is cannabis with THC, basically, right. There's nothing we can do about it. You guys did a bad job writing that law. Well, I guess it's similar in Georgia because this cop says, look, in Gwinnett County, I can't take this pot, so here you go.
Right now, in Gwinnett County, the marijuana in this bag is non-prosecutable.
Okay.
Okay.
Look, they're like,
you cannot
really?
seize it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're more than welcome to have it back.
Now, they were all on their way.
I love the way they answer.
Yeah.
What?
They were all on their way to a Frisbee golf tournament, and they weren't even late. No, I'm just kidding. I made that part up.
Right.
But the video went viral because, look, you Coloradians, and you Californians, and you Washingtonians, and you
Coloradans,
possibly New Hampshire or Vermontans,
New Hampshire
you DCians, you DC elites, New Hampshireites, whoever has legal weed, you guys are like, so the cop gave you back weed. Is it Vermont?
Vermonties.
Whatever the case may be, us here
Are you a Missourian?
Missourian, yeah. Us here in Missouri and Kansas.
I'm a Kansagander.
You're a Kansagander, that's right.
Yeah. That's the one for Kansas, right?
Kansagander? Yeah, Kansagander. Mm-hmm. Or Kansagandian. Yeah, it just depends. I think there's like a gender thing there, but I'd have to look that up. But look, we are allowed to still get excited, especially if it's a cop in Gwinnett County, Georgia, who's giving a bag of marijuana back to the driver that he pulled over because of these guidelines about marijuana possession. So I know you're like, oh, he gave your weed back, did he? Well, they sell it here at Target. Okay, I get it. I know in other states it's legal, but this is still progress. We're getting there. Sure. And for you young, what's after millennial?
Z,
you Gen Zs out there, who are now late teens, right? Those late teens they're not millennials anymore, are they? They're all in their 20s.
I think like up to 20 now is Gen Z.
Even young millennials, but certainly Gen Z, older Gen Zs, they probably don't remember, like in the 90s when Cypress Hill and Sublime, all these artists talking about legalizing weed and how this was their thing, this was their cause, we got to legalize it, it's not a crime and a plant, how come it's legal to have a gun but not a plant? And this was a big deal, and while you may have laughed at all of those people and said, you stoners, a lot of progress was made to the point where now it's legal in a bunch of states, it's medical in even more states, and in Georgia, which you'd think would be one of the last holdouts, the cops are like, all right, sorry, here you go. Here's your marijuana back. Right. And a bunch of guys going, what?
It's a weird world, too. It is one of those things. I took the boys, I've taken them to California twice now. And one time we were out at Muscle Beach and out by the Santa Monica Pier.
Yeah.
And, there's a ton of stuff to do there. And we walk over to, they have those pulled tight lines they put on either side, and they kind of work like a trampoline. But like these skinny lines.
Yeah.
And people jumping on them and doing flips and stuff. And we're watching them, and, it's cool. And then they all get off of it, and they're talking to us, super nice guys and girls and whatever. And then they just start smoking pot.
Yeah.
And I immediately go like, I didn't say anything, but in my head, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm with kids. And then I realized
it's like having a drink.
Yeah, it's like if they just would have had a beer and been like, hey, man, you want to try this? It was the same thing. They just, started smoking a joint. And I didn't, my kids said, what is that? I go, wow, they're smoking weed.
Yeah.
And they were like, really? And I said, yeah, here it's legal. You can smoke weed wherever you want. And then my youngest is like, man, I love California.
The Church of Lazlo. 96.5 The Buzz.
What are you doing this weekend?
This weekend, well, the weather's supposed to be crappy, but got some friends coming into town tonight, and then I'm supposed to go to Missouri Town with my brother.
Missouri Town?
Missouri Town. I've told you about Missouri Town.
I've never heard of Missouri Town before.
So they took.
Have you heard of Missouri Town?
No.
You never heard of Missouri Town?
Is it actually called Missouri Town?
Yeah.
Missouri Town, Missouri?
It's not an actual town. It's a place. It's
There's
more
a place called Missouri Town,
it's more,
but it's not a town?
More state of mind.
Is it in a town?
It's Missouri Town in like Lee Summit. It's in Lee Summit or Blue Springs, somewhere right there on the border between.
Missouri Town.
Is it like a village?
They took all these old 19th century buildings and they moved them all into one spot and into this like park area. And you go there, you do like pumpkin rides and they make candles and they make apple butter. And I don't even remember. I used to go there when I was a kid all the time.
Missouri Town.
But I haven't been
festival.
I haven't been in probably 20 years. So my girlfriend
What the
loves.
hell? It's like Civil War reenactment?
She loves fall stuff, and so she found out about this, and so we're gonna go. Yeah, I don't know.
They have the things where you play with the stick in the circle.
It's kind of like a Ren Fair type of thing. It's like being on the set of The Village, the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Mahaffey's farm or something in Kansas.
Yeah, but the first time I saw The Village, you remember that movie
Sure.
with the pigs from space or whatever with the feathers? When they said, "Oh, this is all fake. These people are here to protect their kids from modern society, and they're just pretending like it's colonial
But
America," I was like,
camp
"Whoa,
there. They
they're
have
like
boat rentals.
They're in Missouri Town. What?
They have boat rentals. You can camp there.
Boat rentals? I guess there is a water nearby. I didn't know that you could rent boats though. I guess it is close to Jacomo.
Oh, maybe
is it
not.
on Jacomo?
I don't know. Missouri Town.
I don't know. I've never actually seen the lake from Missouri Town. But
See what a progressive farming community spread across some 30 sloping acres looked like in the mid 1800s.
Yeah.
Or I could hang myself.
Or you could, yeah. Go home.
You could do this, or you could not.
Or you could go
Get
home
on
and
the
drink
internet.
yourself to death, which is exactly
You
what
could
they were
do
doing.
Anything else in the world?
Exactly what they were doing in
the
1855.
Only people, there's never anybody who wanted to be a part of that. Not even the people who were there. The people who were there in the 1800s in a progressive farming town in Missouri.
They hated it.
Yes.
Yes.
So why do we go back
to
and be
put things in perspective and remind ourselves how lucky we are and how easy we got it?
I feel like they should make you put your phone in one of those little things that Jack White does at a concert. That way you can really experience.
Yes, why don't you do that?
Oh,
Missouri
you're
Town.
not getting cell service out there probably anyway. Trust me. As I recall, I feel like I got a bison burger there once, but I don't remember if that was Missouri Town or somewhere else. I'm really holding on to this hope that I can get a bison burger there, but I can't remember if that was in Missouri Town or not. But yeah, I used to go there all the time. Every kid who went to school in that part of Jackson County went there for field trips at least once a year.
I think they have it in Kansas too. It's just called. I really do think it's called Mahaffey Farm or something.
Okay, so that's where I'm going, man. Get some pumpkins, get some apple butter, make some candles or whatever it is they do. Ride.
Sounds horrible.
On a hayride.
Will you bring me some
bunch
apple
of dancing
butter?
people and stuff, and people knitting and stuff.
Yeah. They're doing colonial America stuff. You asked what I was doing. That's one of the things I'm doing this weekend. Okay? What about you?
Not that.
Okay. I didn't invite you. I didn't think you'd want to come. So
Not that. I'm not gonna do that.
I know you wouldn't, and I know you're not.
I'm not. I'm never gonna do that.
Yes, I know. But I'm going.
I'm
supposed to go.
I'd never do that.
Well,
never. I never want to do that.
Well,
I never want to do that.
You don't have to.
Not
You
that
really
I won't
don't.
ever do it, but I don't ever want to do that.
You don't have to.
I don't ever want to be in a position in my life where I pretend like I want to do that.
You really don't have to.
I don't want to do that.
So don't worry about it because you don't have to.
Do that?
Yeah, I like fall stuff.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
A little suffering, If everything.
I don't want to go see those ladies like, oh look, I'm gonna dress like it's from the 1800s and I'm gonna knit a quilt.
Yeah.
I don't want to see them.
It's just like Ren Fair, except
feel
it's
bad
colonial
for 'em.
America. Yeah, it's just a little time capsule.
I don't.
Look, man, if, as Beavis and Butthead, one of them once said, if nothing in life sucked, how would we know what was cool? Sometimes going to Missouri Town helps you get excited about the fact that the Chiefs are playing on Sunday night and not, during the day. You come home, you sit down, you got your warm electricity and your electric light, and you get to watch the Chiefs, and you can rewind with your DVR and all that, and you think, boy, I'm sure glad it's not 1855. in colonial America.
Do you have to be reminded of that?
Well, it's a good reminder. Missouri Town will remind you that.
Do you do that with everything else?
No.
You like, some people have to eat bugs.
Yeah.
So today I'm just, I'm going to do this weekend? I'm going to eat some bugs just to remind myself that I could go get a burger if I wanted to.
I have eaten bugs, but I've never done it to punish myself. I've had crickets. Have you ever eaten bugs?
As long as you're saying that Missouri Town 1855 is a form of punishment.
Yeah. It was a form of punishment for everyone who experienced it.
It's still a form of punishment.
Didn't you ever read Little House on the Prairie?
It's not a tourist attraction. It's a form of punishment.
The reason people in the Midwest are so nice to one another is because all of our ancestors, well, a lot of our ancestors,
people in the Midwest are not nice to each other.
Experienced this and had to lean on one another to survive the long winters. And you might not have enough food to feed your family this week. You got to go next door.
By the way,
you have to help each other.
That is such a lie. Oh, people in the Midwest are nice to each other. They're not nice to each other. People in the Midwest are horrible people.
You can go knock on your neighbor's door and ask to borrow something. Have you never met them before?
You can do that in California.
Yeah.
You can do that in New York.
Yeah. Well, okay.
There's nothing special about the Midwest.
Well.
And by the way, I grew up here. I live here. I'm a Midwestern guy. We're not nice. We're jerks.
I lived in Seattle.
The hazing process of moving here. At least the people in Seattle, they're not as mean as they are here.
What? You've said a million times that they were way worse than here.
No.
You've said that a million times.
This week. I said people were just as bad here when I took over for some guy named Stash.
Yeah.
They were just as mean.
They were huge pricks. It was so bad.
Here, too.
No, I disagree.
People here are mean.
You know what, Journey?
What do you think? You think people here are mean, Journey?
I know I'm a raging bitch. I don't know about the rest of you.
Stop it. If I came
Look
over,
at our text line.
knocked on your door.
Our text line, we have like 700 blocked numbers on our text line.
That's
because they just crush people's egos.
Yours.
They just, no.
And you can't handle it because you're from Detroit.
You're the one who can't handle it. I block them for you.
That's a good point. I don't look at it. I don't even look at it.
That's why you think everybody's nice.
Look, this is why I didn't invite you to Missouri Town, okay?
I don't want to go to Missouri
Shouldn't have brought it up. I'm going. No apple butter for you. Jeremy.
Will you bring me candles?
I'm going to bring you 2 jars.
I do want some apple butter.
Anything
extra, candles.
Anything extra that I'm bringing for Jeremy because she's nice. And she grew up in Missouri Town. It's called Joplin.
Diamond.
Outside of Joplin.
It's called Diamond.
Will you bring me candles? I like candles.
No.
Why?
Because...
I like candles. I just don't want to go there.
No way. You just defamed this entire organization of volunteers and whatever they are on the radio. That's ridiculous. You're going to have to apologize now. You realize I
did the corn maze?
Yes. I see it coming.
I'd like to apologize to Missouri Town.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. You're not going to be able to say it like that. That won't count. They're not going to accept that as an apology. That sounds like one of those old, sorry if I offended some of you snowflakes out there. That's not an apology. It needs to be heartfelt. Trust me, they're going to be coming for you. With pitchforks, literally.
The Church of Lazlo on 96.5 The Buzz.